So dialectical thinking with your narcissistic parent, doing something new. So a lot of times with a narcissistic parent, their truth or their way of seeing things has been something that's been forced on you and the family. And I can remember this time that my mom recently got upset about something I felt was really overblown, and I had confided in my stepdad, and he immediately acted like he didn't really know what I was talking about. And I kind of realized in that moment, he wasn't, or maybe he couldn't, have a deferring opinion from her. And in order for their relationship to work, he had to believe her version of events. And to me, it felt super black and white, and honestly, it made me very angry. But then I thought there is this mood regulation skill I teach to my therapy clients called the dialectical thinking. It means that two things that feel opposite can be true. Funny enough, this is a skill we teach to people who deal with borderline personality, but it's a skill that I often teach to the family around the person who has borderline personality as well. So if you're anything like me, when I pieced together that it was hard to feel anything other than mad or sad, my feelings were justified, but I realized I couldn't live there forever. And it's important to understand that because we definitely aren't trying to vilify our parents here. That would be doing basically the same thing that they do to us, which is seeing us in all or nothing thoughts. And just as an example, your parent can be both nice in moments and cruel at times, and your own healing process probably has a lot of duality in it, including moments of anger and hope. And as much as this is a coping skill for people with borderline personality, it's a coping skill for us, because after all, this is what we witnessed, right? A lot of rigid, scary, emotional peaks from our narcissistic or maybe borderline parent. And disclaimer, this skill is not excusing their bad behavior. It is not making it okay for if they've abused us. This is just a way to reframe certain thoughts when we feel it's appropriate. Because if there's ever something that doesn't feel right to you, that feels unacceptable to you, we give you full right and encourage you to walk away from that situation. So just a quick disclaimer. So there's two sort of sub-concepts that go along with dialectical thinking. One is validation, and validation means that you validate your own experiences and feelings while also setting boundaries with your parent. A lot of times if you've had a difficult or narcissistic parent, they've frequently invalidated your perspective. For example, you may have said, I'm mad, and they may have said, you can't be mad, or don't be mad. And that's a very simple example of invalidation. So a lot of our work is, if you are mad, if you are sad, we are not at all trying to invalidate that emotion, but we are trying to find what else is true in that same moment. You may be mad, but also you may be hopeful about something else, for example. So another concept is acceptance and change that goes with the concept of dialectical thinking. We're accepting that you cannot change your parents' behavior or personality traits, but you can recognize that you can change how you respond to them. And we can focus on changing our own behaviors and our own reactions to things rather than changing them. And that could mean what you're doing right now, which is you're giving yourself permission to have a different experience from what they've experienced by watching these videos and allowing yourself to acknowledge the trauma that you may have experienced, even if they invalidated it. So dialectical thinking is, again, just to summarize, about holding two opposites, and when held together, they create a new truth, to basically see what's missing in your own perspective and to zoom out. Because often when something triggering has happened, we're usually hyper-focused on one specific thing. It is the combination of acceptance and change. We're both accepting what is, and we are both seeing what we can change in a situation. And if this dialectical concept sounds confusing, that's because it is. And I just want to say, again, similarly to my last video, Think of this concept of the dialectical like the detachment concept as a horizon. It is something we are aiming towards using, but it's not something like when you think about something dialectically, all your problems will be solved. So keep that in mind, have a lot of compassion for yourself, and please like, follow, and subscribe. And if you didn't listen to my previous video about detachment, another coping skill, please listen to it. And if you want to know more about the dialectical, there are so many resources if you type in DBT and dialectical thinking that are really interesting. And it's also a skill that I often teach if you're dealing with perfectionism, which again is a tendency to see things in black and white. So that is the cool thing with a lot of these coping skills. They're not only applicable for dealing with our narcissistic parent. And I think in closing, that's what I want to say has been the silver lining to this whole process for me. I've been forced to reframe, rethink a lot of hard things about my family, but in doing so, I've gained a lot of tools to tolerate a lot of the ebbs and flows of life. Because even if we didn't have a difficult or narcissistic parent, these skills of dialectical thinking and detachment are useful in many other areas of our life. So, thank you.